This video is going to be on how to breed angelfish. I've done quite a few videos on here, but a lot of them are bits and pieces, and this is kind of one I want to bring into one scenario, one situation, so pretty much anybody can set up a tank and get these guys going. The first thing you need is a 20-gallon tank. I have plenty of them, but this is a 20-gallon tank with your sponge filter, a heater, a live plant. You don't have to have the live plant, but it's definitely beneficial, and a piece of slate rock. You can already see where they keep cleaning off the bits and pieces of the rock and keeping them clean, while as the other part collects a whole bunch of algae. The filter intake is not necessary, but that's pretty much a place where I can store it until the babies get bigger. Once they get to the point where they can't get sucked up into the filter, I will be turning it on with a piece of netting over the intake, so they don't get sucked up, but it creates a lot better filtration. Next, what you do is get a group of usually around 4 to 8 angelfish, and usually when you have a group like that, you're guaranteed to get at least one male and one female, unless you have some horrible luck. But after that, they'll naturally pair off. A lot of people say you can tell by the hump on their heads, whether it's straight, whether it's sloped, whether it's not. It's really kind of an old wives' tale, I think, because if you look at my female and you look at my male, they pretty much have the same sloping forehead. But if you look closely with the females and the male, right behind the two fins is a little like needle head. And you can see the egg duct because it's a lot thicker. It almost looks like a pencil eraser, but if you look closely, you'll see a little tab hanging off from the male. That's a sperm duct. But for breeding these guys, they usually do it on a piece of slate rock or a broadleaf plant just like this one. Now the temperature, you want to bring it up to about 78 degrees Fahrenheit. pH is really not going to matter. These guys are breeding at 8.0 for the pH, but I've had them breed at 7.2 to 8.2 even. No problem with the pH whatsoever. Now nitrate, nitrite, and ammonia, you definitely want to keep that down to the minimum, if not nothing at all. That might be a little bit difficult for the nitrate because some tanks usually always have a little bit of it in there. But for some reason, if your angelfish aren't breeding right away for you, you can try frozen food, you can do live food. Live brine shrimp is probably one of the best. You can actually buy it on one of the salesmen now for finestbrine.com. If you go to their sales page, go down to the bottom, click on the tab Fish Guy, and type in the password MA Fish Guy #1, all in caps. Then that will give you a special discount on the live food. But the live food is probably one of the best that I have for conditioning and had the greatest luck with. I fed it to these guys for a couple of days and their egg ducts are dropping even with babies still in the tank. But if you can't get the live food, or you're unable to, maybe in your location doesn't have it, then you can definitely do the frozen. It's a great supplement for them as well to kind of give them the breeding mood. Usually a combination of the frozen brine shrimp and bloodworms. It works great. And you can basically tell they're starting to get primed. Once they start getting real plump, they'll start picking out a spot just like this and cleaning it off, or they'll breed on the plant or even on the side of the glass. And all doesn't really matter to these guys, they'll just breed. But once you've gotten them all conditioned, the male and female together, they pick out the spot and they lay the eggs. That's usually about 2 to 3 days at about 78 degrees Fahrenheit that they're going to hatch. After that, they stay in the wiggler phase for quite a few days. This latest batch was in the wiggler phase for, I think it was about 4 or 5 days. One of the longest I've seen, but they did great. They were wiggling around on they ended up moving them from there to on the plant, and they just stayed there and guarded them. The parents will pick up the babies and move them if they need to, so don't be concerned if they're picking them up with their mouth. It's perfectly natural. If your angels are eating the babies for the first couple batches, it's perfectly normal as well. They're just getting used to the whole parenting thing and testing what they can do. So don't be concerned if you lose the first couple batches. Just keep trying. You will be successful. I've had a couple pairs that eat the babies, so it just happens. Just keep doing it. But once they've passed that wiggler phase, usually after about 4 or 5 days, they'll become free swimming. That's when you want to feed them a crushed flake food. That's crucial. You want a high protein, like an omega-1 food, or if you can do baby brine shrimp. Baby brine shrimp live is the best to get the best growth results out of them. It's just an overall better nutrition than anything else that you can find. But they also do sell frozen baby brine shrimp, so you can give that a shot as well, and that works just as well. But if you can't get a prepared food, a flake food, put it in a Ziploc bag and use a rolling pin and crush it into a fine powder, and that way you can sprinkle it in for them to eat. Okay, I've actually used some of the food that I'm telling you about and basically just crushed up into a fine little powder just like that. And that's all flake food. But what you're going to do is touch it right to the water. And that's going to create a lot of fine particles. Now watch out. The parents might snap at your fingers, but it's not going to hurt you. What this is going to do is create a film of food that's going to float around almost the whole tank and allow the fry to pick off at what they can and what they need. If not, it'll sink down to the bottom, as you can see, and they'll eat off that. When the babies have hatched, you also want to do water changes at least every other day of about 25%. This ensures top water quality, ensures great growth potential out of these guys, and less toxic conditions so that you don't have such a high die-off rate. But I just want to go back to one thing. Speaking of water changes, if you do have a problem with these guys breeding as well, you can do a water change and cool down the water by about 3 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to help mimic the spawning conditions that they spawn in the wild, and that works for me as well. If you have a really difficult pair, just keep doing the frozen food and live food and do the water change. You shouldn't have a problem. But the babies, pretty much once they're on their own swimming and everything and all good to go, you can usually separate them from the parents. And they're usually good to go after that. After about 3 to 4 weeks, depending on your water change cycle, the size of your tank, and the food that you're feeding them, they usually start to look actually like angelfish. And that's usually about 3 to 4 weeks after they're starting to free swim. So these guys are roughly almost about a week and a half old maybe. So they've definitely got some growth to be put onto them. So I'm going to be doing more and more water changes, probably about 50 to 75% to really get some growth potential on these guys and get them going. So if you have any questions or comments, concerns on how to breed angelfish, please post it down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them and help you out, and definitely help out people looking to breed angels out there. So hope this helps. Like I said, complete guide on how to breed angelfish. Check out my other videos, subscribe to my channel. I have contests going all the time, so check those out as well. Thanks for watching.